Crazy. No, he hasn't looked at it. Okay. He might have fell asleep.
Yo, Flurves, how's it all going today? I hope you're all doing well. Thank you for coming. It's good to be here. We got, in Ellemnet, we got Jeff Conkle, Just Bill, and PJ Cruikshank. How are you guys doing?
Oh, good. Thank you very much.
That's good. Let's get to have you guys on. Tonight's just going to be chill. I think tonight we just, after last night, trying to educate McToon on all these double speak and understanding what the angle requires. Just take a lot out of me.
Yeah, don't blame you. I mean, oh wow, I was shouting at the TV.
But yeah, it was. I still appreciate him being a patron. So thank you, McToon, for coming and being a patron. Just gonna say hi to everybody in the chat quickly. First I have to get back to the channel. Okay, so we do have, who did I put on top there? We got Jeff Conkle and obviously PC, hello. Triple X, thank you for coming. PJ Cruikshank, Ronnie Pickering, I think he's still here, I'm not sure. Good to see you, thank you for coming. Ryan S, thank you for coming, glad you could make it. Chad Jones, hello, glad you could make it. Moxie, glad you could make it. Awesome Lawson Clips, always good to see you too. Glad you could make it as well. And then we got Bible You, thank you for coming, Paula. It's always good to see you too. Skeptic 936, hello. Glad you could make it. Who else did I see? I think that's everybody. Just everybody's chatting away, getting crazy. And I agree, Calvinism is a
Calvinism is that.
Don't like it. Anyway, hi Glenn Souls, good to see you. Thank you for coming. And Geometria Wombat, hello, good to see you too. LJ, glad you could make it as well. And then we got Jeff Gassett in the house, good to see you. Price of Adam, what's up, mate? And Furious Furfer, good to see you. So yeah, what are your thoughts on the debate from last night? Not that it was much of a debate.
I know it wasn't much of a debate. I mean, it never is with McToon, is it? Because he's always saying the same thing. He's always just being arrogant and just doing that fake laugh to where he thinks he's got you when he hasn't.
Yeah, but that laugh is more a nervous laugh.
Probably, yeah.
Because he doesn't know how to get out of the hole he's dug himself. I mean, we couldn't even get past the first step, straight lines.
That bugged me when he said that you can have a curved line.
That's the sad thing.
Star. I'm like, what?
He doesn't get it.
Gosh, no, he's stupid.
But the whole night just went of him saying nah. That's it, just nah. Show me any citation talking about triangulation. Bring up like 7 citations showing celestial navigation requires triangulation using trigonometry. And then says, no, come and show me how it's done. Then I go into Paint and I draw it from and explain it. No, show me how it's done. And I explain it again. It's literally like talking to a brick wall. But yeah, the guy had nothing at the end of the day. So what do you expect?
A brick wall has more smarts.
Mm. Ah,
Hey guys.
Hey, Bill. Good to have you here.
Oh yeah.
Hmm.
I was going to say I don't know too much about Calvinists. What is it so bad about Calvinism?
Um.
You know what's worse than the Calvinist? The anti-Calvinist.
Just Bill, what is the best way to explain a Calvinist to PJ?
Oh man, I don't know. There's the 5 points of Calvinism. There's tulip. There's all kinds of. John Calvin was a Frenchman. Okay, and
Okay.
he
Oh, say
he
no
come
more.
up with a whole systematic theology, and I don't know when it basically PJ. It's like a catch-22 when you talk about the sovereignty of God versus the freedom of man.
Right.
In the human mind, it's hard to square that circle.
Mm,
Mm-hmm.
mm.
Right,
Got
but
you. Got you.
yeah.
No, do you know? Because what it is on my YouTube, I've got a few. I've got a few Christian things I go to, and one of them's called Messed Up Church, and one of them's Chris Roseborough, and they all seem quite good to me, but I don't know what's behind their faith or anything. I mean, I only listen to them now and again, and I only listen to what I choose to listen to. So I don't know. I haven't been in depth to what they actually believe. There was once I had something that they said that I wasn't too acquainted with, but yeah, no, I mean everything I've watched so far seems okay, but I didn't know there was anything like I didn't know they had like if they had any kind of like why I'm asking is like doctrine, like doctrines that we don't adhere to and stuff like that. If they've got different
Yeah.
doctrines and stuff
Would
like
you
that.
would you say the Mormons are Calvinists?
No, absolutely not. The Mormons are a completely different offshoot. They're not even Christian. Like
No,
they're not
definitely
Christian.
not Christian. That's for sure.
Definitely not Christian. No.
That's for sure.
Yeah, nice one, Paula. That would be good because yeah, I mean, especially Chris Roseborough. I don't know if you've heard of him, Paula, but he seems quite good on the surface. You know what I mean? And Messed Up Church. I don't know if you've heard of them as well. They seem quite all right, but I didn't. And they're Calvinists. I didn't know. I mean, I know like their statement. I can't remember what you call the statement, but what the church believes in. It kind of sounds a bit Catholic. I think, but I don't know. I don't know. It'd be good to find out some things. Nice one, Paula.
Oh, by the way, everybody in chat, if you haven't already, please hit the likes, and share the show. Really, really do appreciate all the support. It does help to get the people here to know about the show. And also, the link is here above if you are interested to come and chat. Just click the link and follow the steps, and you can come and chat about anything you wish.
Just something else the Calvinists say, like as far as salvation goes, PJ.
Yeah.
Calvinists view mankind as like completely dead, right? Like you're dead, so you can't do anything. Like dead men can do nothing.
Right.
It takes God to come down and give you life for you to have life.
Oh, I get you. Okay, got you. They're
You know,
Trinitarians. They're Trinitarian. That's right.
Hey,
And
hey, friendly outcast, good to see you. And Circle of Enormous Proportions. And TB, let's see, he says, hey, Flatzoid, congratulations on destroying McToon. It wasn't much of a challenge, to be honest. I knew where he was going to go. And the thing is, I so badly wanted to ask him about my flask challenge. And we couldn't even get there because I had to first wait for him to ask me about the height of the star, which we couldn't get to that. So, yeah. Maybe next time I can ask him about the flask challenge if he's figured out the height of my flask yet.
Oh, and yeah, friendly outcast. I just noticed a comment from you in my testimony that I did with Sergio, but I think you might have seen it on my channel. You said about you would like to know my testimony of salvation. Because the one I did with Sergio, I mean, yeah, I mean, it was like a 2 hour long thing, but yeah, I didn't get really into that. My salvation story itself. It was like a brief synopsis, even though it was 2 hours long, about my life really and me coming to God. But yeah, I didn't really get into the story of salvation as such. So yeah, if you want me to do that at some point, I'll probably make a video on it and put it on my channel. And thank you for subbing. Finally,
Yeah.
I got that one.
Say
This
hi.
was 3 weeks ago, though. I only just noticed it the other day.
Hi, Sovereign Soul. Good to see you, mate. Thank you for coming. What? There was something that I think someone asked me something, and I can't remember what they asked about. Totally missed my train of thought. Sorry. In the past debate, segment 2 mentioned that he thinks
the
she
floss
would.
challenge,
Sorry. Go ahead.
oh, the floss challenge, does that have anything to do with how long is a string, Flatzoid?
Yes. So you have to know your
Oh,
distance. So you have to know your distance to the apparent angular measurements. So creating a triangle. The problem is that they think you can have an actual height to the celestial object measured. The thing is, in reality, it's not as simple as they make it out to be. They can try and make it say, we see we complete the triangle, so therefore it has to be this. No. That's why I put out the floss challenge, just to show it's just optical.
and the goal of celestial navigation is not to solve for the right triangle. Correct me if I'm wrong.
No, because you begin with the right triangle. The goal is to get your line of position so you know where you are. So when I'm taking a line of sight to a star, I want to work out how far I am from that star so I can trilaterate my position based on me triangulating my lines of sight to various stars. Which they don't seem to understand. When you take an angular measurement to the star, you are doing triangulation because you are using an angle to get your distance to the GP of that star. So that's triangulation. That's what I wanted to say. I've been listening to debate today. It was a modern day debate recently between that Carl Adams guy, you know, that flat Earth science school or whatever from Globusters. You know, yeah. He's a Mormon, okay, and he was talking to this one guy. He's an atheist. He used to be a Mormon, and their whole debate is about who created the Mormon Church again?
John Smith. Yeah,
Mr. Smith. Yeah,
Mr. Smith. Joseph Smith. Not
Joseph
John
Smith. Yeah, is he?
John Smith.
It was all about is he a actual prophet or not? Hey, Original D Rose, good to see you, mate. You muted. You muted. Yeah. Oh, and he dropped. Anyway, and when it came out, he says the Muslims are the same, worship the same God because of Abrahamic faith, which I found very astounding. I was like, what? No, definitely not. Hey, Original, how's it going?
What's up?
Good
Yeah,
yourself.
I messed around. Did I miss anything?
No, we're just having discussion about anything tonight. Tonight's just open discussion.
Okay. Well, I want to start off with a new version of the Dell sitcom theme song. Hope it don't get no copyright slapped by you, but because it's kind of like from an old song. It goes, "The raindrops ain't falling on my head, 'cause earth rising means my head is hitting those drops instead." Yes, that's what Dale said. So the raindrops ain't falling on my head 'cause earth is rising.
Brilliant.
Loving it, Leroy.
Oh, you know,
Very nice.
your name's not Original D Rose for nothing. That's brilliant. Yeah. Did you guys watch that last stream that he had? Because he wanted to.
Hold on. Props to Brian. That was actually Brian's idea, I think.
Really?
That was Brian's idea.
Okay.
From last week. Yeah.
Brian Logics.
It was refractive. It might have been refractive.
John.
It might have been refractive curvature. John, yeah, it might have been his idea.
No, it was Brian. Brian said it first. Brian definitely said it first. That's the inside joke.
Oh, okay. You was there. You were there?
No, it's just an inside joke. Brian's always saying, I said it first.
Okay. One of them said it because we were just hanging out. Like, it was like only 3 of us inside the thing. And I'm not sure which one said it, but I thought it was a great idea.
That's actually brilliant, yeah. Now you're making me want to actually go do a song on it, a music video.
Mm-hmm.
You should. You should be out there like in a day with the umbrella and just and then have in the background you sing it. You have the music thing, the instrumental part, and you sing your part. You know, raindrops ain't falling on my head. Earth's rising means that my head's hitting those drops instead. Yep, that's what they'll said. So the raindrops ain't falling on my head because Earth is rising. Yep.
That's amazing. I love it.
It's still, but I still don't get how these people think we the ones with the burden of proof when we observe stationary, telling us we are the ones having a claim.
No, they say we presuppose.
That's what I'm saying.
Stationary. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So how do they get that?
Anything moving.
I mean, what do we observe?
Yeah, how can you presuppose station?
How do you presuppose something you observe?
Exactly, it's just ridiculous.
Hey, Spidey, good to see you, mate. Thank you for coming in. But yeah, did you watch his last stream with where he was trying to? He got JC in and that Andrew dude because he so badly wanted to try and white knight for him after the show, and he's like, I don't want to talk to like Flatzoid and all these people. It's like this is just so stupid, you know. The discussion's over, and then he has a 2-hour stream about me, and the whole time during the stream, he says things idiotic like, so when I say things have energy and potential to work, he says I'm making up physics. Nothing we use today uses energy, guys. Sorry to tell you, you guys walk everywhere. Your cars don't drive, and even you walking. Sorry, I mean we're using energy sitting now in this chair. So I don't know what the guy's talking about. He says it's made up physics.
Wow.
Apparently, a force doesn't cause things to accelerate. Only movement causes things to accelerate.
Wow.
Not realizing movement is the result of a force.
Yeah.
That's how dumb the guy is.
Movement causes so acceleration is movement.
Yeah, it's the result of a force. You apply a force to give acceleration. It's not acceleration causes acceleration. It's force causes acceleration.
And what's that term? When something of heavy mass trying to move or wouldn't move,
Inertia.
Inertia. Okay, so Brian made a good example. He was speaking about standing on a scale.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and when you get on a scale is built on physics. They made scales because of, you have to be a physicist to know how a scale operates and to make one. These guys are just not putting screws and nuts together. So it works by standing on it, and the apparatus is on something stationary, so that your body weight presses down on it.
Mm-hmm.
So Brian made a good example, like when you say you weigh 175 pounds, you should weigh nothing. Everything should be canceled out if the earth is rising. Where on my thought, I was like, well, wouldn't you be heavier? If the earth is pushing up and you're standing on something, that's even more against power.
Look,
you know what I'm
saying? That's the thing that they take. That's what comes with the equivalence principle. They're pushing gravity, in other words. They're saying the reason you have weight is because not you pushing down on the ground, it's because the ground's pushing you up. That's why they say you got the. So they're saying if you're gonna, let's say you're moving. Now he's saying we're moving a constant at 1,000 miles an hour at the moment. That's what gives our weight. If the Earth had to accelerate to, let's say, 1,200 miles an hour, you would have a different amount of weight. So it's literally pushing gravity. So it's the same as if on the globetrotter, if you go to different planets, quote unquote, you have different gravitational attraction forces, because it's the same. You can just say they are pushing up at a different rate, so that's why you weigh more or weigh less. He just pushes globe rhetoric, the idiots. He just doesn't get it.
Yeah.
The planets have a legend.
Mm. Yeah, exactly, alleged. The sad thing is, Brenda was on his show at the end, and as much as you know how I despised Brenda and how dumb Brenda is, Brenda literally made him look like a fool.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Literally. And that's telling you something. If Brenda's able to make someone look stupid,
That's it.
at the end of the day, he got what he did with me, got triggered and booted her. Him, Shim, I don't know. Brenda. Yeah. But it's exciting. It's weird to see what's going on though. But like I said, Saturday I'm going to have a debate against Bev, Try Thinking. Probably about angles. Because the guy doesn't believe you can use angles for some odd reason.
Speaking of debates, I got to go back and watch. I missed you versus McToon. If that was fresh or that was the old one.
That was
Or new
yesterday.
one, yes.
That was yesterday.
Yeah, I got to go back and watch that. I gotta go back and watch it.
You're going to enjoy it.
Yeah, I heard you killed him.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
The guy couldn't even get past straight lines. He even said you can use curved lines to get an angle. It's crazy.
The first image he used was Hell's Angles, wasn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
And that's what I asked him. Do you go inside? But remember, he kept telling me, you don't know celestial navigation. I do. Here's my book. And when I asked him, okay, what's a sensible horizon? He couldn't tell me. When I asked him, what's a rational horizon? He couldn't tell me. But I'm the one that doesn't know celestial navigation. Really weird. And I actually want to... I almost went and... he says that book of his doesn't talk about trigonometry. That book he's got there by him. I almost made him go through the book and and show us where it doesn't show trigonometry. How does a scale know how much you weigh exactly? Simple. It's got to do with a load cell. It works out based on the pressure applied on that load cell, which gives you the unit reading. It's just pressure. Remember when you got a dense object resting on a load cell, it's forcing itself onto that plate, onto that load cell. So therefore, you're applying a pressure onto there. That's why if you can stick your hand on a scale and you push down harder, it's going to give a different weight reading.
And is that a force?
Yep.
Yeah.
It's a force. There we go.
Yeah.
And we all know gravity is not a force, so gravity can't do anything.
Jeep in reverse says, how does a scale work without gravity? Oh.
What do you mean, how does it work without gravity? Gravity doesn't exist, so you don't... Like I said, a scale just is a apparatus that measures units of measure using pressure. Yeah, I saw...
Like I said in one chat, gravity is a lame, fantastical excuse for old women with sagging breasts and men with sagging scrotum. That's
Yep.
all it is.
That's it.
all it is. Blame it on gravity.
Gravity, exactly. I don't know if you
Right.
guys... Yeah, LJ says Jaren's on against FTFE right now. I know, I saw. We're probably going to review that, guys. But not now live, because, I mean, that's not going to work.
Yeah.
Hey, Keith Fern. Gary Wybenga. Did you guys see Gary Wybenga's latest video about the foreshortening of Lake Pontchartrain?
I haven't, but I will now. I know he's got one, definitely.
If you guys haven't, do really go make a time to go and watch it. It is very good. Really explaining well the foreshortening and debunking the claim that Lake Pontchartrain shows Earth curve, even by soundly saying it with his own words, how changing zoom causes it to look more compressed and more curve-like. So foreshortening is really good.
So you're not talking about the one from Mitch from Australia. Another person made one.
Gary Wybenga. You want?
Is he like is like a self-incriminating type of video, or he's on our side?
No, Gary
further?
Wybenga's on our side. He's
Okay, gotcha. Okay,
he's like my prospective brother from another mother kind of guy.
gotcha.
I still know how he's only got 286 subscribers. It's insane. Here's his video, guys, if you want to go and but listen to the words that sound them are talking here.
I'm gonna do a little short video on Lake Pontchartrain.
I'm gonna have to stick it in. I'm gonna have to stick it in that side. Don't know why. If I have to use it on Chrome, it just doesn't want to really do wonders. So let's stick it in here.
I'm gonna do a little short video on Lake Pontchartrain. I'm gonna take some clips from some of Soundly's videos.
Hey, what's the
I'm gonna
distance from one end to the other of Lake Pontchartrain?
They're gonna give it now, I think. They'll give it now.
So that it's complete.
Chesapeake Bay Bridge on the East Coast. I think that's in the United States. I think that's the longest.
The longest
on the East Coast. Yes, and that's 17.5 miles.
Okay.
The causeway, that twin span is like 24 miles. Old Rose.
And how much curve are you supposed to be seeing in 24 miles, guys? Would it be negligible according to the globe?
Yeah. No. You should be able to achieve free fall.
Yeah. You got so yeah. We're probably gonna do a review on FTFE and Jaren.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Watching Dumb and Dumber.
They're on the same side, aren't they?
Yeah. Yeah.
Speaking of Jaren and that term negligible, he made a newer, more absurd. He said something. Oh, if the size of the Earth is very great or very giant, no, very giant.
Very giant.
He said not if it's very giant, then you could have an angle on the curve. I was like,
Oh wow. Very
this is
giant.
going back and forth with Nathan. This is going back and forth with Nathan. Like this is one of his claims about the angle having a curve on the surface.
Wow.
On the curve.
Well, we'll look at that video next after this one, I think. Paula says, any calculations you do negated by refraction. Exactly. Refraction is their get-out-jail-free card without realizing when they use refraction, they throw away their globe geometry, which debunks their own claim.
Pseudo-perspective. It's caused by extreme compression from extreme zoom.
Listen to the words from Soundy, guys.
No, zoom through a telescope.
Or a telescope, yeah. I mean, I thought it was the theodolite, but yeah, there's a couple of them through the theodolite with the little lenses by you.
Pictures.
Yeah,
And
those are
changes. It changes a lot of how much curve you're going to see when you zoom it like that.
Absolutely. I mean, you can tell right here, just looking at these huts, they start getting closer together just on hut number 4 right here.
Why do they appear to be getting closer?
Foreshortening.
It's called foreshortening effect.
Well done, Gary.
It's when your angle to a surface becomes more and more narrow in the distance. So the visual information is compressed into increasingly smaller space in the observer's field of view.
Mm-hmm.
That's why, even though those are equal distance, because of the angle, it's like looking at the top of a building from the bottom.
Yeah, because guys, that's why I kept telling you guys, look at the angle Soundy takes this photo on. It's a very specific angle, correct? Very specific angle. Heel Slide, thank you very much for your $10 super chat, mate. Really, really appreciate the support. He says, really enjoyed the McDoofus debate. Your debate techniques are impressive, brother. Keep up the great work. Thank you very, very much. I really appreciate all the support, mate. Yeah, I do try and let people talk themselves into a hole. I try and lead them as much as I can, but I'm not saying I'm perfect, but I do try. Thank you very, very much for the support. So yeah, guys, Lake Pontchartrain just shows foreshortening, and even Soundly, what he just said now, shows it's just foreshortening. So it literally invalidates every argument Soundly has made by claiming it shows Earth curve. But yeah, guys, if you want to watch that video, please do go and subscribe to Gary and go and watch it. You say Jaren's got a new video out. Let's go see. Jarenism.
What is it? First Wives Club Part 2?
What's the video you guys talk about? Simon Dan, the king of the sermon, can't get no. What's the name of the video we're talking about, D-Rose? Or was it a
You mean
live?
the one where he said very giant?
Yeah.
on the asylum against Nathan?
On the silent.
When they were arguing.
Oh,
when
yeah.
Nathan brought out when Nathan brought to the attention that he allowed McToon to manipulate him and have him even thinking that celestial navigation with elevation angles can be done on a curved surface, which the Earth could be a sphere. When he said, let's just say it is a sphere.
Mm-hmm.
And then Nathan said, why would you want to do that? And then he goes on to say, well, if the surface is very giant, that was his.
If the surface is very giant, oh yeah. Let's quickly look what's going on.
Zapier's
there.
automation.
Let's quickly go look what's going on there between Dumb and Dumber.
And when you get away with things like that, and a normie is listening, and they're already pre-programmed with the preposition that the Earth is a sphere, they're looking at it like, yeah, from here to like, 1,000 miles or 500 miles, that's a very giant surface, and it got to be curved, but it's not really curved because we can't see it until we get up a certain height in the sky, in the plane, whatever, even though it's always flat. The higher you go and the higher you go, but they don't see that because they're brainwashed, or either they don't realize that some of the windows may be convex or concave in the way they're structured because they're thick. They're thick windows. They're supposed to be, in case something, you don't want to have a regular window pane like we have in our house in a plane. You know what I'm saying? Because of the pressure, the air pressure. So they don't understand that. So when he says things like that, they look at it like, okay, why can't you get a baseline off of a curved surface when it's very giant?
Yeah. Yeah, why can't you? But they always want to try and push a person onto, like, oh, do you think an ant is going to see on a huge ball that it's curved? Like, are we ants, first of all? And why are you making things impossible? Why don't you just use what we observe now? Really sad.
And also, ants are probably the most marvelous builders that exist, so they probably do this.
Yeah, that's for sure. Ants can go anywhere they want to. They quite adaptable as well.
Why don't these people just look at the homes in Bel Air, California, and different places of the world where they're on these mud hills, and you can see the foundation infrastructure of the homes are leveled, going across from the landscape outward with long pillar support beams sticking to the earth. But the home is still leveled. It's not that the home is not this way. The foundation is not at an angle. I mean, and that's in a small scale.
Yeah.
That's on a small scale. So what are you talking about?
That doesn't make sense.
It's around us everywhere we look. Everything's level.
Exactly. Everything requires the level to get that measurement.
Right. Yes. If it isn't, you're going to have flooding. I would say the only infrastructure that's not leveled is an NFL. I don't know if it's soccer, but an NFL football field or any type of American football field.
It's got a little bit of a slope, yeah. Just for the
1 degree.
Yeah,
for the water to drain. Exactly. Exactly. Just so the water can drain, so you don't have big mud plugs. And that's the only thing that may not be leveled in any type of landscaping. Other than that, most landscaping, unless they try, most landscaping have a curve because they want to have water to tread away. They don't want water to pool.
Yeah, exactly. Because it's dangerous. I mean, you don't want the water to go. You want it to go out as much as possible.
You know why? Because water's going to go wherever the slope is.
I've been trying to sell.
Exactly. You guys want to see what they're talking about quickly?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Man.
I was selling them during my 20,000 subscriber celebration when I was live
Wow.
for 20 hours, and I sold quite a few of them.
Okay.
I guess I should do the same thing. I've tried to sell hats. I can't sell 288 hats for the life of me. But anyway,
Yeah, don't sell hats. Maybe
No.
try something else. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah. Besides, I wouldn't buy the hats he's trying to sell though.
but
But
Not with
you
the
know,
shaped head I already got.
Sorry.
did-
Sorry.
Not with the shape of the head I already got.
it show, and I showed that clip at the beginning of the stream, but with a little disclaimer because it's funny and it appears to show a flat earther proving that the Earth is a globe. But you know,
What?
number one, they didn't show the actual experiment that you did. They kind of misconstrued what you'd actually set up, and you know, the point where you said interesting wasn't a point where it was proving a globe. From what I understand, it was a point where, oh, that doesn't really show either way. That's quite interesting. And it was just deceptive editing that made it look like there's something that proves a globe. Oh, interesting. And
You see, so they're talking about probably Jeranism's rubbish knotted experiment, trying to show that he's just an incompetent fool who doesn't know how to set up a demonstration.
So this is on Jaren's show right now?
Yeah, Jaren and FTV, they're talking live right now.
Oh, that's a cute little image in the background there with the heliocentric.
Yeah, that's on FTV's channel at the back. But he's got the... This is actually Jeranism's background here, and then we're on FTFE's channel. I would rather, to be honest, I despise Jaren so much, I would rather give the view to FTFE than Jaren. That's how much I despise the guy. That's how much I despise the guy. But it's weird how cozy he's getting with McToon and FTFE these days, don't you think?
Yeah, it's telling.
Very weird.
you know, it's a documentary on Netflix.
Right?
It's for
Because actually said they could use me however they wanted. Whatever they felt was best for the best.
Never sign something that says they can use you however they want. You need to be specific in the way that you're allowed to be used. So maybe the only stupid thing that you did was signing that contract, right? We can all agree that.
I would agree. I would agree with that, and I learned my lesson.
No, that wasn't the only stupid thing you did. The stupid thing you did was make it look like a dog's breakfast and not realize you need to have that light parallel to work. Not some guy holding it in his hand, hoping he's getting it parallel through a bunch of holes that are cut with a bread knife. Really? Dude. Check out the smug face on FTFE, yeah. Because he knows it's just idiotic. I mean, you guys saw what, I mean, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to know why it didn't work. It's not because of Earth curve, it's just because that guy there is an incompetent fool that doesn't know how to make sure precision when it comes to observation like that. The further away the distance, the more precise you have to be.
Yep.
And the guy literally looks like he took out a dog's breakfast. Oh, we're gonna rush quickly to cut the holes. Let's quickly take a bread knife. Let's just stick it and hope it's going to all line up 100%. Let's make my buddy hold a flashlight in his hand and hope he's holding it perfectly horizontal through those perfectly set aligned holes.
Well, Flats, can I be the devil's advocate for a moment?
Yeah, go ahead.
It worked well for Forrest Gump, and so far it seems to be working out for Jaren.
Run, Jaren, run! Yeah, it's crazy.
It's things as simple as if the Earth was flat, then you could use what you do with celestial navigation to calculate the height of Polaris, and it would apparently have different positions based on where you are on the Earth.
See, and that's what we didn't get to with McToon last night. Because then I would have asked him about the flask. But yeah, let's see if Jaren's actually going to talk to him about how he gets the straight lines. Do you guys think he's going to get it right? Hey, Moomin Rider, good to see you, mate. Thanks for coming.
But when you do it with a globe, the only thing that you assume is that the stars are far away and the light is basically parallel. And that works with the globe. And the maths behind it, to calculate how far away you are from a GP is all based on the globe by timing your degree by the amount of nautical miles. So with something that is set up to be working on a globe, and it obviously does work, how do you rectify that with the flat Earth?
So my first question would be, do we know, so when you get the almanac and it gives you the GP of a star, people have gone there and made sure that that is correct?
Yeah.
The GP is right?
Yeah, I mean, not just...
What the hell, Jaren? He asked you a very specific question. Did you guys get that? He asked him, it works only on a globe. How do you rectify this on a flat Earth? So he goes, oh, the GP of the stars in the almanac, is it really? Do people verify that it's actually that? No shit, Sherlock. People use the nautical almanac for that specific thing. It's based on thousands of years of observation on knowing a star's location at its geographical position at a certain time. So instead of saying, sorry, it doesn't work on your globe, this and this and this is the reason, he goes to almanac and says, how do we verify that that's actually true? I mean...
Oh.
Yeah.
It's throughout the centuries, sailors will constantly be updating the positions of the stars because even though they're kind of in the same position, they do move very slightly and enough to affect what you would do with celestial navigation. So throughout the years, sailors are constantly updating and adjusting the almanacs, and obviously nowadays it's much more accurate to measurement and updated a lot more regularly.
Yeah, I'd like to get one and verify some of those things. But my thing is, and I've talked to Toon about this, that you guys like to say, and number one, just because people will definitely want this being said.
Thank you very much, Jonah Edwards, for another $33. You're making me scared, man. With it being orange too. Nothing to say.
I like how he's done that. Nothing to say because he's never got anything to say on his super chat, so he's got nothing to say. And what's this time?
Exactly.
I'm loving it, man.
But huge shout out to Jonah Edwards. Thank you very, very much, mate. You rock.
He's cool, man. He's a cool guy.
I do agree that it is weird that celestial navigation is done from a flat baseline, the actual measurement. I don't think it's okay to...
TB, Gary rocks, even though, yeah, I don't agree with him on the not having the 90. It's just he's interpreted. Gary, if you want to come and talk about it, you got the link. You've been in here before. And then we can talk on why you think celestial navigation doesn't have a 90. How's that? Because it does definitely have a 90.
Say that celestial navigation can't be done on a sphere Earth, because I do think if we lived on a sphere, you would be able to take the tangent and call the bottom of your angle. So I don't see a problem with that. But I do...
How? Like I explained to McToon yesterday, Jaren, maybe you should pay attention. If it was a tangent, what is a tangent? A straight line touching at a curve. Now, if you are the tangent, what are you measuring to?
Yeah, there would be no ground position for the star.
Because you require the GP to be on the same azimuthal plane as the observer. That circle of equal altitude requires the same horizontal plane measurement so you can have the distance calculation. You can't have a hypotenuse if it's a curved adjacent.
So he's not a celestial body equal opportunity.
Yeah, he's literally giving the globe to them on a silver platter. And everybody asks me why I'm against Jaren as a flat earther.
You know what? He's not even an anti-global.
No, he's just a deceiver. That's all he is. I'm sorry. I admired Nathan trying to educate him and try and get him to, give an olive branch and stuff. But what I've seen from Jaren is literally just here to deceive and make Flat Earth look stupid, and I stick to that. There's no reaching an olive branch to Jaren. Jaren is here literally to cause chaos in the Flat Earth scene.
Yeah, and to have penis sizing competition.
He talked about the one mistake that he made was signing away his rights or whatever. But this mistake with celestial navigation is just as impactful.
This is huge.
Yes.
And he doesn't understand that he's been corrected on this, and he knows he's been corrected on this. He's even watched my video of me correcting it, Nathan correcting him, and yet he still spouts the same nonsense. What does that tell you guys? He's been corrected, but he still goes on saying it.
I think it is. I don't think you could even disagree that all those angles are taken from a flat baseline. Even you would agree with that.
Well, when you say a flat baseline, the baseline isn't the surface of the Earth. The flat baseline is literally an imaginary line from your sextant to the horizon.
Wow. So, what did McToon tell me last night, guys? Surface of Earth, correct?
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's what I told him he might need to go and talk to you guys because you all have, different narratives. So do you use the horizon or don't you use the horizon? And by the way, if you're using the horizon as your horizontal, you're using the surface of Earth as your horizontal.
Mm-hmm.
Note also, when they take that angular measurement, are they in the center of Earth, hence Hell's angles, or are they on top of the Earth? With straight lines, by the way.
One day they can take a measurement from the center of the Earth, but it isn't today.
One day. Yeah, when they died and they got someone poking them in fire flames. Ha ha ha! Take your angle, bitch! Take your angle! Hi, I'm Dr. Nine. Good to see you.
And the fact that it's always taken from above the surface of the Earth. So it's going to be looking down, so it's more of a slope than actually being flat.
Slope, so not a curve then. Welcome to Flat Earth. This is what I was trying to explain to McToon as well. A slope. Remember when you use a theodolite, guys, it's the same. You measure slope angles, not curve. Is a slope a straight line or is it a curved line?
Straight.
The dreaded kryptonite word these guys hate, straight lines.
Yep.
You then add your
gramophobia.
Mm-hmm.
You add your correct, yes, a straight line, but obviously not completely flat relative to the surface. You add your corrections in for refraction and for dip correction and things like that to bring it to what would be your horizontal. But the baseline isn't the surface of the Earth, so it's irrelevant as to whether the angle has to have a flat, because any angle that you can take the angle between any two things, and the imaginary line between you and either point is going to be a straight line.
Ooh. What did McToon say last night, guys?
So what's the dip correction for then? It's totally negating the dip correction to get to horizontal of the surface.
Exactly. Yeah, the whole reason for dip correction is so you have your horizontal as the same horizontal for the sextant, because all the horizontals are parallel. Now, if you have that, let's say 0.2 or 0.3 arc minutes or arc seconds, this difference in your degree measurement, it's going to change how far the distance is to the GP of the star. So it's just to make it more accurate that your horizontal from your eye has to be pushed down to the actual horizontal baseline, as in the horizon, the surface of Earth. That's why I asked the guy, why do you bring them down to the center of Earth? Because that's the rational horizon. The rational horizon is where your hell's angles come from? Very simple stuff. That's why you stick yourself in the middle of a protractor. So you can make it work, which is based on flat earth geometry.
Yeah.
As Nathan likes to put it, flat earth geometry.
That doesn't mean that the surface of the Earth is the same as that imaginary line.
Okay, and then I talked.
Okay, not okay. I just corrected him. Why couldn't you correct him? Oh wait, you don't know what celestial navigation is. You don't know how it works. You're trying to push a globe.
To tune about this, if we had a flat Earth, let's say the Earth is flat, there are cartographers, there are mathematicians smart enough to project that onto a sphere. That is possible. Now people think they live on a sphere. So if you then have GPS and you have celestial navigation that...
Yeah, Moon Rider is much more fun, yeah, now. Because we can actually go through what this nonsense people are saying. But yeah, cartographers, does he know what cartography is?
Maybe something to do with maps.
Yeah.
Looks like it's
Last time I
designed
saw a map,
Sorry?
map was flat. The last time I saw a map was flat.
Yeah. What are the map is 2-dimensional. What are those 2 dimensions of a map? Would that be width and breadth?
Width and breadth, that's it.
Yeah. There's no height, correct? So no elevation, no curve.
If I remember correctly, FTFE was claiming a globe is a map.
Yeah, he did.
He did, yeah.
That.
And then I had it on screen showing he was wrong. Hey, David Banner, good to see you, mate.
from the sphere, that doesn't prove that we're on a sphere, because you can lie to people, you can trick them. And so to me, it's just not a very good argument, because it's, well, can we project from a flat Earth onto a sphere? Yes. Okay, and then from there, can they draw a celestial dome, and can they and this is why I asked you about the GP, because for all I know, maybe those GPs are slightly off, and that's where they hide the trickery.
No, McToon, the GPs are correct, mate. Otherwise, everybody would get lost at sea. That's stupidity talking there, right there. And by the way,
if the GP wasn't 90 degrees, how would you have 180 degrees in a triangle?
Exactly.
Yeah.
But Jeranism's argument is, how do you know the information in the almanac is correct? That's how.
Because it repeats every year. It's the same cycle every year. It's repeatable.
Yeah, they keep. Yeah, they have to. Yeah, they keep on having to change it based on the times and seasons, because it's noticeably observable for centuries.
Yeah.
I mean, really, does this guy not know anything? But by the way, even ship captains and stuff, they don't really use nautical sextants anymore. It's all automated now. They have all their it's based on GPS today, so they have 4 backup GPS systems, so they don't even need to use a nautical sextant anymore, because it's already pre-programmed into their plotting. Now, does that negate that they had to use flat angles? No, it doesn't, because it's based on the GPs. Yes, the almanac is giving the actual correct data, you numbskull, Jaren. Otherwise, they wouldn't work. I mean, every ship would just get lost if it was false data. So that's just idiotic from the guy. If I think he says something stupid, he comes up with more stupid things to talk about.
Because I do think that is a trick. Most of these things are tricks, and you could do it easily by hiding things. Go ahead.
No, I was just agreeing. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt there. I was more talking to myself. But so the fact.
Yeah, Gary, you guys want to agree? Gary can come in and we can discuss why he doesn't believe there's a 90 degree involved.
Okay, it's got to be interesting.
And then we can just review the stupidity some other time.
You'd have to prove that a triangle doesn't add up to 180 degrees then to do that.
Doesn't have 180, yeah. But Gary, yeah, please come in, mate. I'll be more than happy to discuss it with you.
You
fact
got,
that
like,
it
all the ones at
works,
the
though,
top.
is what I see as the problem for the flat Earth. It works based on the knowledge that the Earth is a globe. If you
No, it doesn't. Are you going to correct him now, Mr. Jaren?
were to project it to any other kind of shape, be it a cylinder or a flat map or anything, the angles that you take to the stars no longer work the same way. The light would have to bend in weird, crazy ways that doesn't make sense for the measurements that you get in reality to match what you would see if the Earth was flat.
And this is when you tell him the sextant principle, mate. Straight lines, angles in succession, based off of a horizontal plane of reference. The sextant, 60 degrees, a segment of a circle, closing the arc, aka the index arm, making your linear distances. Just like I was trying to explain to McToon. But doesn't look like any of you even looked at a sextant before? Do you think these guys have ever looked at a sextant, actually looked at how the angles work in the sextant, how the actual mechanics behind the sextant has been developed?
I don't think
Now,
they
obviously-
ever go outside whatsoever.
Oh, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, Richard G. Jaren tries to seem like he's trying to prove a globe. So while we're waiting for Gary, we'll just carry on with this.
I can't say to you that I've personally confirmed that every GP is what it is. I have done some, 20 plus years ago when I did my celestial navigation before I joined the Navy, but I absolutely couldn't say to you, yeah, well, I know that every GP is exactly as it is because I verified that. I don't think anybody could. The only thing I could say to you is maybe try and check a few yourself and see if that would help you, in your mind, bring that together. But
And this is when Craig is supposed to say, I would have got lost at sea if I didn't have it correct data. That's all.
Right.
But you see, it's not really like they're having a debate. It's more like they're having a let's agree on common ground kind of thing. Really odd.
Yeah.
Really, really odd. I mean, look at the demeanor, the difference how Craig is talking to him compared to how, let's say, he talks to another flat earther or to me.
Yeah, I mean,
He doesn't let let me talk. He gets triggered. Bubbles goes on crazy, but with him, it's like, oh yeah, I agree with you. This is nice. Let's be calm. Really weird.
Okay.
there
And
just doesn't seem to be a way to make celestial navigation work the way.
No stress, Gary. We can set up for another time if you really want to. Just let me know when you're free, and then it'll be great to just have that conversation with you.
That'll be cool.
Mhm.
I thought you meant right now as well. But yeah, it's cool.
We'll just carry on with this right now if you guys want to, or you want to do something else.
It's cool. I don't mind carrying with this.
Because, I mean, everybody in the chat, you guys are welcome to come join the show. So, remember, you guys can talk about anything you want.
Links at the top.
Mm-hmm. Hey, Yannick, good to see you, mate. Two Wolves, good to see you too. If you guys haven't already, please hit the likes and share the show. Really, really do appreciate everybody being here. Sending love.
Talk about gramophobia.
Gramophobia. Would you explain to the people what's gramophobia?
Do you want to explain, Vicky?
No, one of you can.
The fear of straight lines.
Exactly. Moomin Rider. No, I don't think that's a good thing to be watching, mate. I think let's watch this role there. It's more well, it's actually killing our brain cells, but at least it's not going to be sticking rubbish into our minds. Actually, it is sticking rubbish in our minds. What am I talking about? We just have to correct these guys.
It does if the Earth is flat.
Let me ask you this, and then we'll, if you think it's worth doing. So if I were to design a world on a flat map, and then I were to project it onto a sphere and show people that, look, we lived here, now I projected it here, show the GPs, show the distances that we're getting, and show that it would work there, but it's not the real place that we live, would that be the kind of evidence that you would need to know that that's not a good argument anymore? Or are you going to just say that, well, it's because I fixed the books, basically, which is what I'm saying.
That's so true, Yannick. That's so true. And by the way, Jaren, it's called Cartesian Coordinate System for a reason, right? Maybe go look it up. This has also been explained to him before. I think Greg is in a wheelchair, yeah.
Saying that they did. But I don't know if that's good enough evidence to just show, look, I can also cook the books.
I would have to see a practical way for it to work if the Earth was flat. Forgetting about the projections from one to the other, I would personally just have to see a way that celestial navigation practically, functionally works if the Earth was flat.
Okay. Should we draw it again for these guys?
Yeah.
Oh, I got a better one, right?
What he means is he's going to close his eyes if you try to show him.
Yeah.
You know, because if I do it, then they say, oh, you're not showing me what's going on. So should we use someone else to show us? Hey, 1K views already. Awesome. I'm looking for a specific video. Where is that video? Ah, this one let's work. Line of position.
Recordings just.
Did it get better? Wow. Wow.
From Daytona Beach, Florida to Charleston, South Carolina. Along
this guy actually makes some good videos. Actually explains it quite well.
Duties were watchstander, but also navigator, and we took some slight observations of the sun to serve as lines of position along the way. This was an electronic navigation race, so it wasn't a big deal, but we did take some observations, my friend Chuck and I thought in this video it might be fun to reduce one of those by hand to show you the process from soup to nuts for a celestial sight reduction of the sun. You'll notice down below that there are timestamps.
Oh, timestamps. Let's go see what the timestamps are. Oh, okay. Sorry. Let's see where the timestamps are. Observe and correct the site. Find the geographic position of the sun. We're going to have to get to that.
For some of the key moments in this video. So if you do already know something, feel free to forward ahead to stuff you're more curious about. Very helpful in terms of real lighthouse. What you would do is on your boat, we're out on our sailboat and we have a compass. And I look across that compass and I see the lighthouse out there on a bearing. A bearing is a direction to a lighthouse, for instance. Celestially, a bearing is known as an azimuth. So we'll come back to that later. But if
remember on your azimuthal plane. Now notice how he's saying that lighthouse is on the azimuth, correct? And he's got a bearing to it. That would mean it's on the same plane as the person on the boat. You guys agree with that? Because if it wasn't on the same plane, you wouldn't have a line of sight to it. Wouldn't be on the same azimuth.
Of course.
If I use my compass and I take a bearing of that lighthouse, I could then go onto the chart and draw a line kind of backwards from the lighthouse, and I know I'm somewhere on that line. Because if I look along the line, I see that the lighthouse is out there. So I could be close to it, I could be far away from it, but I know I'm somewhere along that line.
And that's why Homoto comes in. Because the further you are, the wider the angle is going to become, the closer you are, the smaller the angle is going to become. And that's how you know how far or close you are, how accurate you are.
That's not very helpful in terms of real navigation, I guess, but a single line of position is definitely a useful thing to get. Imagine a case in which there was 2 lighthouses. Well, then I could get 2 lines of position and I could get a fix from there. And a fix is where my ship was at a particular time. So lines of position just mean I'm somewhere on that line. And when we do celestial navigation,
yes, intercept method.
and we're going to do the same thing, but we're going to do it for not the lighthouses on Earth, but the lighthouses in the sky. I'd also like to ask, lighthouse with the sun at the very top of it. position, which are easier. But this is a valid technique. And when you think about celestial navigation, we're not necessarily doing that, but the principle of triangles and angles and right angles and figuring out sides and everything is definitely helpful when it comes to a celestial site reduction process.
Whoops. Did you guys hear that?
Do it again.
What's he showing this on screen? Well, I want the circle of altitude as well.
Fix. Likewise, we're going to do something similar with celestial navigation, but not with the lighthouses on Earth, but with the lighthouses in the sky. So circles of position, lines of position, all helpful stuff when we're trying to figure out where we are or where we were at a particular time.
Yep, exactly.
Terrestrial or land or water, Earth-based navigation would be using geometry to help figure something out. Because if you knew the height of this light, and they're always listed on the chart, and you had some tool to help you measure the angle between the bottom and the top of that light, you could create a little triangle here.
McToon, you paying attention?
Nice.
I tried to draw it for him many times. The guy just didn't listen.
And it's a right triangle.
So, did he just draw a 90-degree there, where the GP of the so-called celestial object would be?
It's a right angle, assuming the lighthouse is built straight, of course. So if you could measure this angle right here, call it maybe theta, that's like a mathematical angle, and you knew this angle right here, and that means you can figure out this angle right here. And if you knew the height, if you think back to your geometry days, if you know two angles and a side or two sides and an angle, there's some rules that help you figure out the rest of it. And you can figure out your distance using that method.
Uh-oh. Triangles, McToon. From Practical Navigator, a guy that literally teaches people to navigate by sea, kind of validating what I've said the whole night, correct?
Yeah, absolutely.
That's weird. I thought McToon said, I don't know how to do celestial navigation, only he does.
Yeah.
Don't worry, it's just going to get worse for him as it goes on.
So we don't often do that in navigation because we've got radar and we've got charts and we've got compasses that give us lines of position, which are easier. But this is a valid technique. And when you think about celestial navigation, we're not necessarily doing that, but the principle of triangles and angles and right angles and figuring out sides and everything is definitely helpful when it comes to a celestial site reduction process. So let's imagine a different situation. This time, we're going to use, instead of a lighthouse on an island, we're going to use a lighthouse with the sun at the very top of it. It looks kind of like the Eye of Sauron from The Lord of the Rings. And let's also imagine that the Earth is flat. I know.
Did you guys hear that? Let's imagine the Earth is flat.
That was good.
I like that.
I know he's going to say, I know the Earth is a globe, but let's work off of a flat Earth, correct?
Yeah.
I wonder why that would be.
I have to say it, the Earth is not flat, but let's imagine it is for the case of this video here.
Why would that be? Because celestial navigation requires it to be flat? I mean, think about it. Why would he need to describe it on a flat Earth if it wasn't flat?
Exactly. It'd make more sense to describe it on a globe Earth if it was a globe. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Why would you have to describe it flat if it's a globe?
Yes.
No
That's
sense
what you call.
whatsoever.
That's charlatan rhetoric right there. That's
Exactly.
Rhetoric.
Absolutely, Rose.
But I mean, why move to... If you say it's a globe, then why are you showing celestial navigation on a flat Earth? You would show it on a globe Earth then, correct? Yeah.
Yeah, just do it the way you say, like you claim the Earth is. Just do it. Why
Exactly.
you gotta convert? Why you gotta convert it? You know what I'm saying? Just prove it. Do it the way it is. If it works in milk, put it in milk. Don't put it in water. Don't put it in water and say it works on milk as well, but you don't demonstrate it. Come on, man.
Mm-hmm, exactly.
All right.
We could do the same thing. We could set up, an angle between us, the horizon, and the sun, and it's going to turn into a big triangle that we could solve geometrically.
Oh, wow. McToon, I hope you're paying attention. Okay.
The problem is we don't
remember when.
Yeah?
Do y'all remember the video when George Bush was talking and a shoe flew from the back of the audience and hit him in the face?
Mm-hmm.
Go look that up. That's what needs to happen to this guy right now. A shoe needs to come from the back of the class and pop him right across his face.
But that might be a shoe nomina.
Yeah.
I love this though, dude. I think hostile witnesses are the best.
Definitely. Soon you're going to be seeing a whole bunch of anti-flat earth trolls on this guy's channel. No, man, how dare you do this? You can't tell people triangles and trigonometry. How dare you try and show it from a flat earth?
really have a chart that tells us, hey, where is the sun actually on the earth? Because it's not, it's way up in space, right? But if you were on the sun and you dropped a line down to the earth, just a little messenger line or something, it would impact the earth at some spot. If you were standing at that spot, you would get whacked on the head by the object from the sun, or if you looked straight up, you would see the sun up in the sky, dead overhead. This spot on Earth is known as the geographic position.
Notice that the GP of the sun is on the what? The same plane as the observer, correct?
Yep.
One mind, one spirit. Hello, LSG. Good to see you, mate. I'm loving this video.
And it changes fast because the Earth is, of course, not flat and it rotates and everything. But we do have a book that will tell us at any moment where was the sun at the time of observation.
Yeah, North
So if you know an angle and you know a position of the sun, you have another angle, the height, you can calculate your distance from it.
Yeah, Sovereign. Isn't triangle kind of the root of trigonometry? Yep. It is. This is what McToon was running away from last night.
Kind of thing. Two problems with that, of course. Number one is, the Earth is not flat, really.
While you're showing it using flat. Well done.
He's trying to convince himself, though. Isn't he?
Exactly.
And number two, the laws of geometry.
Hey.
Yeah?
Is he supposed to be demonstrating, is his point how flat earthers misconstrue celestial navigation by demonstration?
No,
if he's not doing that, then why, like you said, why is he using a flat earth example to demonstrate how celestial navigation works?
Exactly.
If it does in fact work on a globe.
Exactly. Why do you need to show something that's... I mean, I'm not going to say, let me show how it works on a globe if I say it's not a globe, am I? That's insane.
On a not flat Earth are a little different. So we need to take that into account. So on a not flat Earth or a round Earth or an oblate spheroid like we are, we have to use some different techniques, but the same principles do apply. There's some spot where the Earth and the sun align so that the sun is directly overhead, the geographic position. It moves, we have to find it. We can measure an angle between the horizon and the object out there. The problem is our horizon, kind of extends out like that, so it's tough.
Problem is, our horizon extends out like that. Did he say there were any problems on flat Earth, guys? He didn't say there's one problem, did he?
No.
But
No,
he's
no.
already starting with the problem on a globe Earth. But it's a globe Earth, apparently. Okay. Love this.
It's tough to measure on a round Earth kind of thing. But if you were to, get on deck and make an observation of the sun, and you compare it to the horizon, you can definitely use this principle of triangles and distances, etc., to help you navigate.
Triangles? Uh-oh. Doing trigonometry again, McToon, that you said they don't do.
With the spherical law of cosines and sines and geometry, we're not doing...
Oh, cosines. Weird. Would that consist of a triangle?
regular old triangles from middle school or elementary school. We're doing spherical geometry, which sounds really cool. So technically, we're creating a spherical right triangle when we do this process, right? And if you were to, kind of drop this line straight down to Earth and then through Earth down to the middle of the Earth.
Hell's angles.
Yeah, Pandan says you don't need to imagine Earth is flat. You don't need to imagine the sun moving. These are observations.
Exactly. Exactly, Pandan. It's observed. There's no imagination needed.
Exactly, dude.
This is monkey magic, man. It's literally monkey magic. Like just imagine what was Michael Jackson's favorite his pet monkey? Just put a little cape on him and a top hat.
Bubbles.
Give him a wand. Give him a wand. That's what this guy is.
Yeah.
What the hell is a spherical right triangle?
Yeah, that doesn't exist.
I mean, that's rounded.
It's non-Euclidean geometry.
That's spherical axis.
I want to see someone use spherical right triangles to build a house, for instance. Let's see if they'll get anywhere. Because as far as I know, what's an angle, guys? Two straight lines meeting at a vertex.
Yeah.
So at this point here that he calls a 90, is that a 90 degree if there are not two straight lines?
No, not at all.
Earth. And then if you also took a line, directly down from space to you, down to the middle of the Earth kind of thing, you could create a different angle on the Earth. This angle right here is known as zenith distance, because your zenith is the spot right over your head. So when we do celestial navigation, although we measure one thing, we're kind of interested in something else, but it's still an angle, it's still a distance, it's still related to the geometry thing. So using a different process than elementary school geometry, but similar, we can get results that are helpful. The problem is, another problem
for the globe. Okay. Seems the problems keep coming up for globe, don't you guys?
It's weird.
You know what? Y'all, you gotta mind me with my metaphors. But this kind of reminds me of, we're all taught when we wipe our butt to wipe from the front to the back, right? Okay, now this guy is telling us that we're supposed to be wiping from the back to the front, and it's more logical to do so because it's not as messy, and you don't, everything the opposite. You won't get an infection. It's not nasty. He's literally flipping the technological specificity of celestial navigation and literally hijacking it to fit for a globe.
Exactly.
And getting away with it.
Definitely. Just ignore the problems.
He still needs a flat plane. He's just going to go to the center of Earth to get it.
The thing is, they're still doing the math and the trigonometry based on a flat Earth. They just imagine it as a curve. That's all they do.
That's right.
That's why he says that we've got a problem with this, we've got a problem with that. So we've got to try and work around our problems. But when we do it on a flat Earth, there's no problems, correct? Weird how that works.
There's always problems.
Not a single problem.
Exactly.
Not a single.
Hey Adam, how's it going? You come to see the show, Adam?
I just got, when I get a little bit outraged.
Oh, with Jaren?
No, well, outraged there. I'm just not surprised.
Yeah, Adam chewed me out early today.
Did I?
Yes, you did.
Probably for a good reason. I would. He was as he quickly scattered over and tried to pretend that spherical geometry involved curves.
You missed earlier where he's literally explaining triangles over flat Earth and how it's got no problems. Now he's explaining it over a globe Earth, and he's given, I think this is the third problem, he says.
Yeah. He seems to think it's also geometry based.
Oh yeah, obviously he makes deductions saying, "Ooh, we got a 90-degree curved angle." But I mean, do yourself a favor and just go back about 20 minutes here, and you'll see what the guy was showing. I'm probably gonna cut this piece out and send it to Nathan as well. It's really funny. He literally draws a flat Earth, and he says, "Let's imagine it's flat," and then does trigonometry on a flat Earth, and then just basically claim, "No, but it's not flat," and says, "Okay, now let's do the same thing on a globe." And I think this is the third time he says, "And we've got a problem."
Is that we don't have a chart
And the thing
that's going
is-
to.
Sorry?
And mind you, Adam, the thing about it, Adam, if you walked in on it, you would think that he was a flat Earth advocate, letting people know this is the problem.
Uh-huh.
This is where you have a problem.
Yeah. He would.
If he didn't say that the Earth is not flat, you would think he's a flat earther.
Definitely.
Show this whole area that we could work on like a human scale, right? So we need to come up with a different method, a flow chart, a process, a cookie cutter recipe that we can follow to get results from this principle, but using a process that's more human scale. So we're going to use what's known as the Mark St. Hilaire altitude intercept method. It's the most common way to do it. We're going to make some assumptions, we're going to simplify a few things, but the main principle still applies. We want to know how far we were away from that geographic position, and we want to do a few things that will help us actually figure out our position or a line of position from.
Oh, now he's going to throw his globe away, guys, because the intercept method requires horizontal.
The sun. The same principles do apply. Angles, distances, they're all related. If we use the right formulas, if we use the right books, it's going to be helpful. So take that same concept that we just talked about, angles, distances, etc., the sun being a lighthouse in the sky that's like really, really tall, the concept of geographic position, distance, etc., and think about it from space. If we're looking at the Earth, the round Earth, by the way, our ship is out there floating.
The round
I love how he keeps on having to put that in. Yeah, let's imagine it's a round Earth, a globe Earth.
Floating around somewhere. And remember that there was a celestial object in the sky, the sun, star, planet, moon, and if you dropped a line down, it's going to hit the Earth in some particular place.
Yeah.
Or an observer out on the Earth is going to see us up in space directly overhead. Do you remember the name of that spot on Earth?
Geographical position.
It was the geographic position.
Yeah.
The GPO.
So we can find that. That's great. And then we said we create kind of angles and distances to figure stuff out, the zenith distance, as it were. And if you were looking down on the Earth, you could represent the zenith distance
with a straight line.
This way.
With a straight line. Okay.
And if we were just using regular old geometry for a lighthouse that was really tall with a sextant measurement, that zenith distance is going to help us determine a celestial circle of position. We would know we're somewhere along that, arc. A huge arc goes all the way around the world kind of thing. Because this zenith distance could stretch out. It could be here, it could be down here kind of thing. Just like using a radar on a lighthouse. We're creating one circle of position around the GP, or the geographic position of that object.
And that would be the same geographical position, meaning you got the same plane reference, correct? Yeah, it is like he's trying to convince himself, David.
Definitely.
He's definitely trying to convince himself.
That's not terrestrial, what he described. He said it himself. I'm creating a celestial art.
Exactly.
That is correct. He's in the celestial
yeah.
sphere right now when he's describing this, as he admits.
Yeah, he's brought us into space now for this.
No, he's describing the celestial sphere now, not the surface.
Not the surface, yeah, because all they do is they take the measurement from the celestial sphere and they just transpose it to the Earth. That's all they do. That's why they have Howell's angles on the rational horizon.
So they pretty much dismiss the protractor.
No, they just put you in the inside of the protractor. So
okay. Inside,
so that this would be a protractor, okay? And let's just say that's the celestial sphere, and you'll be standing in the middle of that protractor, looking out at the celestial sphere. So they're taking that measurement and they're just transposing it to the center of Earth. That's all they're doing.
Wow.
Yeah, Mark G saying us clowns know nothing, while they're literally making every point I made last night, showing how much times did McToon say no triangles, no trigonometry, no straight lines? Adam, did you watch the debate last night between me and McToon?
I think I'm on my birthday week. So I caught a bit literally towards the end as the two streams ended.
He says
not anything to really comment on, if I'm being honest.
Yeah.
This dude has a birthday week.
I want a birthday week. Can you think?
I know.
Can I have a birthday month? How's that sound?
I've just pissed QE off because I said no, it's still going till Saturday.
Well,
so
happy birthday week.
Busters.
Yeah, happy birthday week then.
Well, it's 50, so I've got, and there's a lot of people to celebrate.
Yeah, it's a milestone. Yeah, it's a milestone.
That's a bad one.
Hey, happy birthday week, Adam.
Thank you, sir. I think it's worthy of a week.
No, you got to say happy birth week. Happy birth week.
And a half. I've just realised that it was last Wednesday, yeah. So, there's a little bit. Is it worth? Could I ask just to rewind 30 seconds? Because there's something I heard Mark sent Hilaire method that he refers to. And
yes, that's the intercept method. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's go to I think it's further. Okay, it's going to search from here.
A line of position from the sun. The same principles do apply. Angles, distances, they're all related. If we use the right formulas, if we use the right books, it's going to be helpful. So take that same concept that we just talked about, angles, distances, etc., the sun being a lighthouse in the sky that's like really, really tall, the concept of geographic position, distance, etc., and think about it from space. If we're looking at the Earth, the round Earth, by the way, our ship is out there floating around somewhere. And remember that there was a celestial object in the sky, the sun, star, planet, moon, and if you dropped a line down, it's going to hit the Earth in some particular place. Or an observer out on the Earth is going to see us up in space directly overhead. Do you remember the name of that spot on Earth? It was the geographic position.
Yep. Just pausing this quickly, just for namesake. Blah 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 blah. This is commentary. Blah blah blah. Okay.
So we can find that. That's great. And then we said we create kind of angles and distances to figure stuff out. The zenith distance, as it were. And if you were looking down on the Earth, you could.
Sorry.
I was driving today, so I was listening to the Flat Earth debate. There was a guy that came on, I think it was an exponent of gerunds, that was asked what GP stood for.
Mm-hmm.
And he went, I think general position. I don't know.
No, he said Gina Point. He said
Gina Point. That was it.
Oh, what? Because I haven't heard it yet. I only because how I do it because I can't catch it live. I download it at night and then I listen to it the next day at work. So Gina Point, and he's a Geronite. What does that tell you? Wow. What the hell? Gina Point. I'm sure Nathan ripped him a new arsehole. Wow.
I just know that this guy's renaming things as well. Geographic point.
Geographic position is a GP, yeah. That's correct.
It's not what the old almanacs say.
What do they say?
Ground position.
Ground position, yeah.
Yeah, geographic, ground, it's actually the same. Because geographic is terrestrial.
It represents.
Yeah, but position, not point.
Yeah, position. Exactly. So that's the position that the celestial body is 90 degrees overhead on the ground. If you're standing on the ground, you would see it directly above you.
Next, you'll be using the word geopositioning. My point being that why change something that's perfectly understandable?
Yeah. I think they have to change the nuances of things because they want to make it as globe orientated as possible because everything is already showing to be flat and they're getting called out on it. I guess that's the reason.
Yeah.
The zenith distance this way. And if we were just using regular old geometry for a lighthouse that was really tall with a sextant measurement, that zenith distance is going to help us determine a celestial circle of position. We would know we're somewhere along that, arc. A huge arc goes all the way around the world kind of thing. Because this zenith distance could stretch out. It could be here, it could be down here kind of thing. Just like using a radar on a lighthouse. We're creating one circle of position around the GP, or the geographic position of that object, right? What if you were standing here and you observed the...
Sorry?
Zenith distance.
Yeah, that's a bit wrong.
Well, if we're on a ball, we've got diverging zeniths.
Yeah, but you understand that zenith distance is wrong, though.
Which zenith distance am I picking?
Yeah,
the arced one, or the ones that extend as, I'll say, straight lines out that always are separating from each other, maintaining the same angle, the angle that I've taken from a flat Earth to elucidate in the first place. What does zenith distance actually mean?
He's just trying to make it sound more globe-like because,
the
zenith just means above your head.
No. Am I taking the point between A and B, which is the point I'll take between those two extending lines to their star points, which will always be a straight line between the distances? Or am I talking about the point where they intersect the sphere and it's no longer a straight line but a curved line, and that's the distance that is equivalent at 60 nautical miles per degree to the co-angle when I've taken that angle, the actual elevation angle, from a flat plane, before I then transpose it to the center of a ball to put those 2 points of intersection on the ball to describe this, and this is what I'm asking, this zenith distance.
Yep.
And that's a newbie again to me, along with geographic.
Hello?
Sun
position.
Okay.
This is new speak, isn't it? It's new speak.
Exactly. Yeah, they're trying to make new things. But I mean, that zenith distance is, as you're saying, is actually false, because zenith has just got to do with the zenith above you on the celestial sphere. So you can't have a zenith distance on the ground it's got to do with the celestial sphere. It's above you, just like the nadir is below where the zenith is above. So he's actually wrong. The way he's saying it shouldn't say zenith distance. I think he's trying to make it sound more globe-like. Chat disconnected. Can you guys? Okay, so let's see. Okay, we connected. Hey, Space Miner, good to see you. Did you guys hear what I was saying? Hello? Seemed like I'm having some technical issues.
You lost your percent flights. You must have lost it. Lost you there.
Okay, I was talking. I was like, I didn't.
He'll come back in. He'll come back in. Oh, well, he's actually lost.
Okay.
He is.
Okay, I'm still streaming. Okay, guys, I'm like talking. It's going off. Talking, going off. I was like, did you guys hear what I was saying?
No, we lost you at the critical point, as D-Rose said.
Okay, I'm gonna quickly try. I want to see. I'm gonna use the beloved paint that the globe.
Are you talking to him? Because I don't hear him.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, I can hear. I can hear you.
Can he?
No, I'm saying, are you talking to Flat? Because
Yeah.
I can't hear him.
Yeah, I'm
I
talking.
hear you.
I'm talking to Flats D-Rose. Yeah.
Okay, because I still don't hear him.
Oh, he's back on.
Yeah, I'm here.
Alright.
Tell D-Rose to log out and go back in. Sometimes it does
Yeah.
that.
He said.
Oh no, I hear you. I hear you now.
Okay. Okay. I'm gonna quickly try and explain the zenith and the nadir. On the globe, it's based on a rational horizon. This would be the center, the center of the great circle cut out through their globe. Okay. Then all that happens is they have a celestial sphere around. Okay, so this would be their beloved globe in the middle and whatever, and then they're going to have a zenith which goes to the celestial sphere, which means above, and a nadir which means below. That's all that it is. So nadir is below your feet to the celestial sphere, zenith is above your head to the celestial sphere from the Earth's surface. So if you say
so the term is zenith and the other one is zadir?
Nadir and zenith.
Nadir. Okay.
So if he's saying now we have a zenith distance, it's false. You can't have a zenith distance because the zenith distance would mean a vertical, not a horizontal.
Right. Oh yeah, of course.
True.
So he's actually false. You can't call it a zenith distance.
Yeah, of course.
It's a category error that he's calling it.
At a particular angle. As you got closer and closer to the sun, what would that angle change like? Would it get bigger? Would it get smaller? Kind of thing? Well,
he's explaining the intercept method, which is Homoto. So what happens with Homoto, we're going to go back to triangle, guys, because that's what Homoto is about. Okay. It's just going to be saying you are on that line of position, that bearing, okay? So the star would be here, you got the 90 degrees, and you are on your ship either here, or here. So it depends all on the measured angle. The closer you are, the wider the angle, correct? The further away, the smaller the angle. And that's how you would know if you are, let's say, now 10 nautical miles further from your line of position, or let's say 5 nautical miles closer. You get it? So that's what Homoto is about. The wider the angle, the closer you are, the smaller the angle, the further you are.
I was going to say, you've got a request from Awesome Lawson saying, Flatzoid, can you have D-Rose read this statement from the Royal Society of Navigation or whatever that he read off on FED 2 days ago and provide the link as well?
Oh yeah, that'd be great. Would you do that, D-Rose? If you don't mind, if it's possible, because he's driving at the moment, I think.
No, I'm not driving anymore. What am I doing?
Someone asked if you could read out the statement from the Royal Society of Navigation or whatever you read off on FED 2 days ago and provide the link as well.
Did I read it off 2 days ago?
Well, that's what they're saying. Awesome Lawson said it was you, D-Rose. Read the statement from the Royal Society of Navigation.
No, I don't recall me reading anything or being asked to read anything.
Maybe
2
it was
days ago.
chocolate. Maybe it was chocolate saying.
Yeah, it wasn't me. It wasn't me. It was. It might have been Chocolate or Eli.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or Eli, yeah.
I think it was Eli.
Yeah, I think it was Eli.
It's the RAF pilot trainer from RAF Cranfield or somewhere. I think if I could paraphrase, he basically says it's easier to retrain these people to start again and understand the way to be able to do navigation is to think of it as a flat plane with the stars rotating above. You must unlearn what you have learned, basically, to be able to do it. Paraphrasing, but it's basically an RAF instructor like testifying to it. Like the practical applications means you do it this way, which is as described. You keep saying line of position, and that's the important thing. It's a line. It's not an arc.
It's line of position.
This zenith distance is being described.
That's what I said. Him putting zenith is just actually a wordplay to make it sound like it's somehow globular. But like I said, if you take what zenith is, then it's in a category error because you can't have a zenith distance across a horizontal.
As you get closer and closer to the sun gets more and more overhead. So this St. Hilaire altitude intercept method is really just a way to say, all right, if you measure the altitude of the sun using a sextant and we do some math, ultimately we're going to find out like, okay, are you actually where you thought you were? Or maybe are you closer or further away? As you got further and further away, the sun would get lower and lower in the sky kind of thing. So these concepts, geographic position, zenith distance, not necessary in the cookie cutter process, the formulas kind of thing, but it's helpful to get a big picture look at what we're achieving with a site reduction. It's going to be one.
Well, that's a stupid question, Mark G. Star circling above, how do you determine the GP? Easy. The GP is its geographical position or ground position on Earth. So if I'm standing at the GP of a star, let's say Arcturus, and Adam is taking a measurement to Arcturus, he's got a GP and he's taking a measurement to my GP. Understand? Because I'm standing directly underneath the GP of Arcturus. Guess what? That would mean we can make a triangle from Adam to my position on the ground. Just because the stars are moving up above doesn't change what a GP would be.
Circle of position. The St. Hilaire method will allow us to take that circle, zoom it into a human scale, take a tangent of it, and turn it into a line of position. If you did the same thing with the moon, if the moon dropped down right here and you created a circle of position around the moon, you could end up with a fix that way. But for the sun, we're just going to get one circle of position, or technically a tangent to that circle to get a line of position is the process. All right, so let's move on to the actual steps of the site reduction. I think you've got the background that you need. If you're looking for a deeper dive into the background, I would recommend checking out some of the other videos that are available on YouTube. Either could maybe put my sextant sideways and I could measure an angle between the camera and my computer monitor, and I can get an angle out of it that way as well.
Horizontal, yeah. Mark G, it is a bit late. I'm going to end in 15 minutes. So if you want to come chat, you can come chat tomorrow. How's that?
The sextants are very, very...
And by the way, it says in the pin message, join Flatzoid, but you click on there and then you come in.
Yeah.
Useful and very precise in measuring angles. So when we think about, triangles and distances and all that theory, this is the tool to use it. The problem is there's a couple of corrections that you need to make when you use this sextant. So first things first, what are we looking for in the sextant? Well, if I were to look directly through this sextant, I'm going to be looking through a telescope and then what's known as the horizon mirror. This horizon mirror is clear glass with a little bit of reflectivity on it so that I can see the horizon out there. Now, if I'm
Note, guys, see the horizon. Why would you need to use a horizon mirror? Well, why do they call it a horizon mirror? Let's put it that way. I mean, I think the anti-flat earthers are claiming all the time, we don't use the surface of Earth. Correct?
Yeah.
I mean, the purpose of the horizon mirror, what's he trying to do? He's trying to attain a angle, isn't he?
Yeah, between
he might describe it as a tangent, but he's going to use the horizon to attain a level.
Exactly.
The only way at sea he's going to be able to do that. So he's going to use that horizon as his point of reference to make sure he's level, perpendicular to the surface.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And as I said, just interesting. He uses the horizon mirror, and they look to the horizon to make a sight.
I'm looking at the horizon, that's great. But if I'm looking at the sun, I'm going to burn my eyeballs out most of the time. So we've got some shades in here that will allow us to protect ourselves, just like sunglasses, from the sextant. Now, if I'm looking at the horizon, that's one thing. How do I measure the angle to the sun? Well, if you look closely as I maneuver this sextant, you'll see that there's not one mirror, but two. Right? There's a mirror here, the horizon mirror, but there's also this one, the index mirror. So as I move it around, those two mirrors move in relation to each other so that I can take the light from the sun, hit the index mirror, bounce it off the horizon mirror, and then come into my telescope that way so I can...
Just don't tell Witsit that. He doesn't think light travels. Also note, are those angle lines reflections straight lines?
Oh, aye, absolutely.
Yeah, weird. Globies, you don't even have straight lines to have those measurements. This is why we're talking. That's why I love going on about the principle of the sextant when it comes to angles in succession. You require it to be straight lines that require a parallel and a horizontal.
Can observe it. So there's also sunglasses or shades for the index mirror as well. So that's kind of the principle. I'll show you a little graphic from one of my earlier videos about how this kind of process works. But ultimately, when you look through the sextant at the sun, you're going to see a round object, unless things have changed in the solar system since then. Depending what type of mirrors you have, for instance, this sextant has what's known as a whole horizon mirror. It's not split in any way. Other sextants have split horizon mirrors or mirrored glass in there. So depending on what type of mirror you have, and you can check out some other videos for that type of thing, you're going to...
Okay, this is what I wanted to also get to with McToon last night, but we couldn't really get there. This is why I say the globe, just by picking up a sextant, literally throws it away. Just pay attention.
You're going to take the sun, and you're going to bring it down to the horizon. So eventually, the sun is just sitting on the horizon. Just like that. The very bottom...
Okay, guys, when we're looking at this horizon, would that be the surface of Earth? Guys, that's surface Earth, correct?
Yeah. Yeah.
Would that be horizontal?
Very, very horizontal.
So what does that tell us? The surface of Earth is horizontal?
Oh, wait a minute. You've gone. That's a bridge too far.
I know it would seem to imply that, Flats, but possibly not.
Yeah, but I mean, we're working on observation here.
Crazy.
Is that sun intercepting on the horizon the surface of Earth at a horizontal plane? In other words, the sensible horizon is now meeting the visual horizon, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
And they are parallel to one another as a horizontal?
Yeah, that's the key. You've used the horizon to create a parallel plane to the surface.
Exactly. So that by default means the surface is horizontal.
Well, if what you've created is a parallel plane, yeah, and it's a plane that's parallel, therefore by definition what it's parallel to is a flat plane like what you've created, isn't it?
Exactly.
Otherwise it can't be parallel.
Mm-hmm. Ah, I love this. This guy has an awesome video.
Bottom of the sun is touching the horizon through the sextant. When you do that, you've got your measurement. That's the time to take it. The problem is the sun is always moving most of the time. So if you dither, you're not going to get the most precise reading. So what you want to do is bring the sun down to the horizon, and then you want to take your sextant and kind of rock it back and forth a little bit. Why do we do this? Well, if you look at my head, for example, I always kind of lean to the right a little bit. If you're on a boat that's moving, you've got a little bit of lists and stuff in there. So that's going to make the sun kind of do something like this as you wiggle it back and forth.
Yeah, that's how they say it would be kissing the horizon. It's just to make sure you are standing, having the perpendicular, vertical, and horizontal perfect. That's all.
And you're going to notice that there's a gap there. You want the sun to touch the horizon just barely, just kiss the horizon, and you'll know you've got your measurement at that point. So when you do that, you're going to note the time to the nearest second, like very accurately, and then read the sextant. So I'm going to write down my time. Maybe if I have a friend...
Yeah, that's true, Pandan. He admitted that the sun is moving.
Yeah,
exactly.
Most of the time, he said.
They'll say Mark, and they can write down the time, whether their name is Mark or not, and we can go from there. Okay, how about reading the sextant? Again, I've got a more in-depth video about reading the sextant, but in essence, along the bottom of the sextant here is the readings.
Pay attention here again, McToon. This is what I tried to explain to you, I think, at least 15 times last night.
Scale. So there's whole number of degrees on the gold part here, the brass part, and then inside of it, you can kind of fine-tune it with this micrometer drum to get degrees, minutes, and tenths of minutes. So again, if you're interested in a more detailed version of that, just go check out the video that I'm putting up in one of the corners of this screen. But in essence, on my site with Chuck out on the vessel, we shot the sun and we observed it at 51 degrees, 06.6 minutes above the horizon. So in this case, our boat was out there, we looked out at the horizon, and we saw the sun.
Notice he's drawing it on the flat earth again, guys.
At 51 degrees above the horizon. I don't know where the sun is. I haven't figured that out. All I know is I saw it at 51 degrees, 06.6 minutes above the horizon. And that's useful information to me.
Yeah.
Right? That's useful information. But just like the sunglasses and the mirrors, there's a couple of other problems that we need to deal with before we have an actual measurement. So therefore, this is known as the H...
Sorry, that is an actual measurement. Now you do calculate it. That's why you're having an HS.
Or the...
Because it's the height of sextant measurement. Then you're doing corrections to get your HO. Because you got to do corrections. But that's an actual measurement, correct? You did a physical measurement. Then you do corrections on that physical measurement to get calculations.
the height of the sextant. The height of the sextant. It's just the raw number that kind of comes out when I make an observation. I've got the time and I've got the measurement, the height of the sextant. There's kind of 3 corrections we need to make to any sextant reading most of the time in order to turn it into something called HO, or height observed. That's the number we're looking for, the corrected sextant reading. The first correction that we need to make is known as index error. And every time you take a sextant measurement, really the first thing you should do is set your sextant to 0. Make sure that it's exactly 0. All right, so we set it to 0. And then we look out at the horizon and we make sure that the horizon is flat. You want to look out at the horizon.
The horizon is flat.
I love this. This dude rocks.
Good.
Yeah, make sure it's flat, please. Make sure it's flat and show us where it's flat while you're trying to say, but it's a globe. Okay.
If I don't look out, is there a chance it won't be flat?
Yeah. I don't think it will render to you.
See an unbroken step like that. Sometimes, though, depending on the type of sextant you have, there's going to be, a break in the horizon as you look through the telescope.
That's when you have to
If
fix
there's a
it.
break in the horizon like that, you have index error. And it's simply due to the fact that this is a human-made object. It's subject to heat and salt and corrosion and warping and everything. So the mirrors are slightly misaligned. You can correct that with the screws in the back of the mirrors. And if you're interested in that, you can check out some videos about sextant calibration. But the error needs to be removed. And as long as the error is small, like, a few minutes of error, you can remove it mechanically. So what you do is you take your sextant that has a break in the horizon like that, you twist the micrometer drum until it's flat and the error is gone, and then
Flat, and the error is gone. I love all the times he says flat.
Yep. Yeah.
you read the value. So in my case, I took the sextant, I looked out at the horizon, I had a broken step there. So I twisted it a little bit, I got the correction fixed, everything was flat. Not flat Earth, just flat.
Everything was flat.
But he said it so many times, hasn't he?
But
that his point of reference is flat. Yeah. As he and this is the point of what's going off here. What's he doing? He's calibrating his instrument at this point. Yeah. And what's he using? As he embarrassingly reminds himself, a flat
Earth. Yeah.
To make sure his instrument is correct before he moves forwards to take the measurement.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. And then he has to try and remind himself that, oh, I believe it's a globe.
This is probably the most globe-tard, self-incriminating video I've ever seen.
It's brilliant.
And then I had a reading in here that I needed to make. And it turns out for my sextant on this observation, the index error was 1.0. 1.0. Now, of note, you can have index errors that go up or down because this is a kind of an endless machine here. And mine was 1 minute too high. So instead of 0, it said 1.0. So if your index error is what's known as on the arc or greater than 0, you have to take it off mechanically. Just like Noah and the animals on the ark. If the index error is on the ark, take those animals off, like unicorns. That's why we don't have unicorns anymore. If the index error is off the ark, put it back on by adding the index error correction.
Yeah. Yeah, like Magoon yesterday.
So I take that index error, I am going to subtract 1.0, and instead of index error, now it's index correction, or IC. So I can do that math, right? 5106.6 minus 1, 51 degrees 05.6 minutes.
Great.
So that's one correction that I've made.
2 more to go. Yay.
To this sextant value. Right? There's other corrections that need to be made as well. The next correction is known as dip. Dip. And the problem with dip is kind of related to our height of eye. How tall we were on the boat.
How tall we were on the boat above a horizontal horizon.
Yep.
So if I was down at the deck level when I made my observation, maybe I'm about 6 feet above the surface of the sea. But if I climbed up the rigging and took my observation up here, now I would be more above the horizon. I was going to make a joke about 3 inches or something, but the higher you are, the more distorted your reading is due to the fact that all tables and all calculations assume that your eyeball is at sea level. If you're not at sea level, if you're above it most commonly or sometimes below it, you need to make a correction, the dip correction.
Yeah, great. So you need to go down to the horizontal surface of Earth to make it more accurate. Weird how that works.
Otherwise known as height of eye correction. Right.
Yeah.
That's the honest point. Height of eye. That's what the correction is for. Yeah. Whatever it gets passed off for later on, that's what dip is synonymous with, or originally called. It's a correction for the height of eye as it describes, because as you ascend to a higher height, that flat deck opens up more to you. The angles that were previously occluded by things in the foreground become apparent to you. You can see further. The horizon, that point of dissolution, will render in a slightly different place based on the height of the eye above the flat deck.
Exactly. Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. It's because your eyes aren't embedded into the surface. So you have to bring it down to make the triangle just more accurate. It's as simple as that.
If you're in a rubber ducky life preserver, i.e. half your eyeball is submerged and you've got that perfect position, then you attain the impossible position, which is to be actually on the parallel surface to the one you try to attain to take your reading off when you use the horizon. You don't have to use the horizon. You can use, if you're not at sea, you can use a bubble
sextant,
yeah, and that same angle is the same.
Yeah, because it's just
you're
parallel.
attaining a level, and that's the point of this dip correction, because at this point you're trying to attain a level. That's what the dip height of eye correction is. It's a recognition that as you go higher, the point of rendering of the horizon will actually change a little bit due to optics.
Yeah, it's just a parallel. That's all it is. That's why you don't require dip correction when you use a bubble sextant, just because it is still parallel.
Yeah, because you're not using optics and
Yeah,
the
exactly.
horizon to define the level.
Exactly. Yeah, because the sextant, the nautical sextant, is specifically an optical device. So dip correction is just another way of saying let's take perspective into account.
Designed to work at sea. You can't use a bubble sextant at sea. And as he went through with the rocking mechanism, that's an extra thing, because you really don't know what's exactly up and that when you're on a boat. So you do that extra bit so that you've got your measurements secure. And like I said, prior to that, you've checked, you calibrated your equipment. Now you're going to make sure that however high you are, whatever bigger ship you are, wherever you are on the rigging, you also recognize that will slightly adjust the position of rendering of the horizon when you look at it through the sextant. That's the next adjustment. But there's no mention. There's no mention of curvature drop. It's about where the horizon renders. I want to. It's interesting, isn't it? Because at this point, he's not invoked that the horizon is the leading edge of a ball.
Yeah, he can't because everything he's showing is flat.
Well, that's why I chirped in, because he said height of eye, which is an admission in of itself.
Yeah.
So I'll shut up.
And where can we make this observation? Well, there's a table in the Nautical Almanac which will allow us to look up dip corrections, or there's a formula. You could do it yourself. You could calculate it. So I'll show you a graphic of the dip correction for the Nautical Almanac. And for us, our dip correction is going to be negative 2.8. Negative 2.8.
Before we were using
before you used Monday.com. I think we're just going to let him do the site reduction close, and then I'm going to end. Would you guys want to go on with this tomorrow?
Absolutely.
You guys like this?
Yeah. Absolutely.
Who's it? Where does he? Mark G said, I look forward to the flat earth site reduction. He's busy doing it, Mark G. Pay attention. That is flat earth site reduction, mate. You only have flat earth site reduction. There's no other way.
All right, we were only a little bit above the surface of the sea, so that's going to turn out to be 51 degrees. Not quite done. 51 degrees, and then 5.6 minus 2.8.
0.2
is 2.8.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So far, I've taken that sextant reading, my height of sextant, and I've corrected it for index correction, you know, the error in the sextant itself. I've corrected it for my height of eye above the surface of the sea, and we have now what's known
refraction
as HA, or height apparent. Height apparent. Remember, we were looking for HO, height observed. So there's one.
So height observed. You're going to have to do refraction now, correct? Note, this is what I wanted to say with McToon last night when I asked him the whole time, which I did ask. Do you first take the angular measurements with straight lines and then correct for your so-called curved lines? So how do you take an angular measurement if it's curved always? You know what his response was? You can take an angle with a curved line. Yeah.
One last correction that we need to make. It's located in what's known as the apparent altitude correction table, and it takes into account a couple of different corrections. First of all, if you were looking straight out at the horizon and the sun was out there, you know, it might be refracted a little bit by the atmosphere because you're looking through a lot of atmosphere when you look that way. If the sun was directly overhead, there's less atmosphere to look through. So there's some refraction based on where you are looking at the sun. Likewise, you've also got some seasonal differences. Sometimes, you know, at certain times of the year, the sun is really big. Sometimes it's really small, depending on the orbit of the Earth and the sun and the tilt of the Earth and stuff.
Yeah, too much begging the question here.
No,
that's wrong. It's false as well because
that's a heliocentric denial.
Because don't they say the reason we don't see angular size changes because of its distance?
Yeah.
So it's a local sun now. It's close to us. And also note, are they claiming elliptical orbits? Wow.
So there's some seasonal differences. And then finally, when we observed the sun, remember that we put the lower limb on the horizon, the lower part of the sun. Well, the calculations are actually based on the middle of the sun. The middle of the sun. But it's really hard to measure that. So most commonly, we're going to measure to the bottom of the sun, the lower limb. Why do we choose the lower limb versus the upper limb? Well, most commonly, it's just easier for us to bring the sun down and have it kiss the horizon for us to make sense where we're looking at it. But you could equally use the upper limb just sink the sun below the horizon and use that. More often that's used when you use the moon instead of the sun, when it's kind of tilted and stuff. But, if it was a partly cloudy day, you could use the upper limb. Or if you're just curious, you could do the upper limb as well. Most navigators use the lower portion of the sun on the horizon, or the lower limb. So all of these corrections are kind of tied up into one thing in the apparent altitude table.
Yeah. You see, this is what I was saying with the Jaron asking FTFE then. Is the Nautical Almanac data correct? It would have to be correct. If it wasn't correct, you wouldn't be able to use it. So that's what was a bit stupid.
And so what we'll do when we take the apparent altitude tables is we'll take this HA and we'll look in the apparent altitude tables. We'll look in the correct season. We'll look at the apparent altitude and we'll pull out a correction based on the lower limb or the upper limb, depending on which one we used. So when we do that, we see that our correction is positive 15.2 minutes. And so finally...
This is specific, isn't it, to the sun and moon, and not the rest of the.
This is specific to the sun and moon at the moment, but at the principle works the same though.
No. This adjustment, this final.
This final adjustment is just for the sun.
Altitude.
This is just for sun and moon. Because that's why it says when you do the stars, you're going to do refraction. But now this takes refraction and declination and all that into account. Which gets the HO. But the principle is about the same.
Is positive 15.2 minutes. And so finally, this will allow us to get to our height observed. So I'll take the 2.8 plus 15.2 to get 18.0. 51 degrees, 18.0 minutes is my height observed. So what was the point of all of this? It's really step one in the process. You're going to observe the sun or another body, and you're going to make some corrections. What are those corrections? For the sun, you always have an index correction for any body, actually. You've got a height of eye correction, and you've got the apparent altitude correction as well. Apparent altitude. If you're using the moon, there's additional corrections for
notes. That's over exaggerated, as he's described. Look at the majority of the plus point, right? It's that fact that he's measuring from the bottom of the sun or moon to the center. That's why there's that big variance.
Yeah. And I love how he tells everybody it's an apparent height. Because what do the Globers usually try to strawman us with? They tell us it's a physical height.
Yeah.
For the parallax. If you're using a star, if you're using a planet, depending on the season, there's different corrections for each of those. But for the sun, it's going to be index correction, dip or height of eye, and then the apparent altitude correction. So if you notice, our sextant height was 5106.6 when we looked through the sextant. With all these corrections, it's 5118.0. What does that mean? Is that a big number? Is that a small number? A big difference? A small difference? Well, it's about 12 miles of accuracy when the time comes. So depending on how accurate you're trying to be, if you're out there on the open ocean, you could round these, you could ignore them if you wanted to, but to be most precise, you want to make these corrections. So that's step one, observe and then correct the sextant to get a height observed. Next, we'll move on to step two.
Okay, I think we'll move on to step two tomorrow night, guys.
Sounds good.
Yeah. So yeah, I loved what the guys doing, explaining flat Earth the whole time. Also, once again, thank you very much for gifting 5 memberships. Really, really appreciate it. You rock. So, you guys have any closing statements?
This guy who was he does sounds like a flat earther, doesn't he? Sounds like he's definitely a potential one, that's for sure. It's like you said earlier on that anything to do with flat had no problems with it. Anything to do with globe had a multitude of problems with it. You know.
Yeah, the fact if he didn't tell me that the Earth's not flat, I would think he's a flat earther.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely.
So I would just say that the only reason I put it in is because of the detail he's given. To be honest, he's not tried to allude it to anything. He's just described it.
Yeah.
It's just detail. But the point is, it's fixing the device, making the realization that you can't stare at the center of the sun. These are the things that are being adjusted for. At no point did he describe, oh yeah, because we're looking down and we're referencing the horizon because it's the leading edge of a ball. He's not said that. Even when he said height of eye or dip, as he first said, he didn't allude to it. It's an interesting watch, Flatzoid.
Yeah, definitely.
Definitely.
But I still think he's busy while he's going through it. He's trying to convince himself it's not flat because he's realizing everything he's doing is based on the flat.
Yeah.
He double checked himself, didn't he? Because he kept realizing I've said flat a lot of times.
Exactly.
I don't mean flat Earth by that. I mean just flat, as in the flat Earth, the flat shape that I'm referencing, the flat surface, and that I'm navigating on. But he's not. I think he's avoiding it. I think that's interesting, that little slip he had.
Yeah. Okay, so I guess that's
all that guy has done is done the flip side of what we've demonstrated all along why celestial navigation does not work on the spherical Earth. All he did is say it in a different way. Instead of saying, let's imagine it being a sphere the way Jaron did, let's just imagine it's a sphere.
Yeah.
He said, let's imagine it's flat.
Exactly.
Then he did everything successfully. And then he said, now, let's try to do it this way. See, we have a problem.
Exactly.
Okay.
No, I agree. Yeah, because that's what we're saying with Jaron. He's literally putting everybody on a globe for what reason, I have no idea. Okay. I guess that was a good stream, so we'll do part 2 tomorrow night then. Because I think it's this guy rocks. I think he's going to have some interesting things to show us. So thanks all for coming. Really, really appreciate it. Was a great show. Thanks all for coming. Thanks for all the super chats, all the likes, all the share the shows. You guys rock. I'll see you all tomorrow evening for part 2 on celestial navigation based on a flat Earth. Cheers, guys.
Good night.
Thanks, guys. Blessings.